Hello, and welcome to the Splain. Dan Rothenberg and Joe Klosik, two guys trying to figure it out. Not the right wing, not the brosphere. Left of center, with humor and empathy.
How you doing, buddy?
I am very well. I am a little tired. Long weekend so far, but a great weekend. How about you?
Good. I'm good. I'm good. How you anything you need to get off your chest before I launch in to
You
my
want a
issues?
comedy? You want a comedy update?
Yeah, comedy. What's going on? Where are you playing?
I'll give you a stand-up comedy update. So since we record this and then release it a little late,
Hmm.
I'm I can't plug anything really,
Yeah,
but
your career could be over
it could be.
by the time this
Well, wait
comes
a
out.
second. I
This
wasn't.
is like
Wait a minute. I didn't. It
so
won't be
two
that
weeks
tragic.
ago.
You know what? Here's something that I'll tell you that is interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Ever since Venmo came out, right, we have this
Yeah.
ability to instantly pay. It takes more and more effort to get paid from bookers and producers. And some of it
Hmm.
is like, okay, I get it.
Interesting.
You got to collect the cash, but then like a week goes by, and then you got to send
Uh-huh.
the first awkward text like, hey, man, are we gonna see that money yet from that
Are
gig
we
last
talking
week?
about a one-nighter, a two-nighter? What's the
We're we're
landscape?
t- we're talking like Venmo is mostly used by fellow comedians that are booking one-nighters, and we're not talking like a huge sum of money. We're maybe talking like, hey, I did 20 minutes and I was promised $100, but a week later, it's not quite showing up
Hmm.
yet, and you're like, hey, what's going on? So that's awkward.
So
Um,
fellow comedians
Fellow
who are
comedians,
giving you money to close the show.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's taken longer and longer and longer to get paid, and it is frustrating because as an old school comic
Hmm.
now, right? Like when I walk into the punchline, here's what I love about the punchline and Cobb's, right?
Hmm.
I walk in within 5 minutes, one of the managers finds me, has a clipboard, hands me, signs it, and hands me my check. Before I go
Hmm.
on stage,
Hmm.
they
As it should
hand
be.
me a check, as it
Right.
should be. It's like, hey, you're a pro. So those are like the two polar opposites of what's
Yeah.
going on. And then in the middle, I have another situation where I've been waiting to get paid for a gig. And I was told to send an invoice at the end of the gig, which number one, mildly surprised me. Like, oh, I
Hmm.
thought I was going to get paid at the end, like every show.
So to send it, that annoys me, even
Yeah.
though that's professional in a gig economy, and it happens to me too. Now I shouldn't be mad. I'm a therapist, so I'm I'm in the mental health field, and so I should be comfortable sending invoices.
But I think the
But
lesson,
I'm a one
yeah,
person show,
right, right.
and for the most part, it's not the norm. It annoys me. Send
It
me an
annoys
invoice.
me too.
Give me my
Yeah,
money.
it also annoys me because 95% of the time there is an expectation that you're going to be paid after the show. So much so that you don't even ask. And
Hmm.
then now I feel like, oh crap, I should have just asked. But then I send the invoice, a month goes by, right? Still haven't been paid. I
Hmm.
inquire about it, and then I kind of get hostile pushback like, oh, come on, don't make this all about money. Like, we've been in business together
Seriously?
forever. Yeah, yeah.
Who would say that?
I'm not going to bring up a name.
I mean, what kind of a fellow comic, a club owner?
Fellow comic, right? Long story short, I finally get a text back from him. The check was sent back to his office because his accountant, even though there was an invoice I sent, his accountant
Uh-huh.
spelled my name wrong and sent it to the incorrect address. So
Uh-huh.
it's like, okay, you want me to be professional, but yet there's
Right.
this incompetence on the other
So
end.
Scott Capurro
Oh
said to
boy.
me 20
Yeah.
years ago,
Yeah.
this was 15 years, probably 30 years ago, whatever. This was probably pre-internet.
Mm,
He said to me, when I do a show, I tell them I need to get paid the night before I go on.
mm,
End of story. And
mm.
It's just something to consider because it's all bullshit. It's very
Yeah,
humiliating to
yeah.
have to beg for your money, to have to beg for your 50 bucks, 100 bucks.
It's in most gigs, yeah, you're piecing it together. It's 100
Yeah,
bucks here, it's 200 there.
it's
Some of the
demeaning.
it's a little demeaning, and everyone knows that. I also think like some people kind of enjoy that power trip over you, like, oh, now I'm gonna make them ask for the money. But the lesson for me has been after more than 30 years of doing this. From now on, in any message, email, telephone conversation, text, I'm going to ask them to send me what are the
Mhm.
payment details. Doesn't have to be a contract, but I'm going to say, like, look, this is the amount we agreed on. This is when I get paid. There should be no more questions.
Right.
And that's it. Because you're right. Like, I feel like I spend more time now tracking down money than I did
Yeah.
as a younger comedian.
And all you had to, and they can just Venmo you.
They can just Venmo me. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's what the guy with the whole sent it to the wrong address and the wrong name. He ended up just Venmoing me. And I'm like, why couldn't you just do that in the
Yeah. The
first
point
place?
is, right. The point is, it's the same rules of owing people money. When you're a honorable professional person, you just get people their money.
You just pay him. That's
Just pay
it.
them.
You just pay him. You don't play a game. You don't
Yeah.
juggle balls. You don't, play some weird fast and loose thing. You
Yeah.
don't
We all
pretend
need
like,
to get
oh,
paid.
is that what we agreed to? Like that kind of bullshit. It's like, no, come
Yeah.
on, man. Yeah. Here's the text. You know what we agreed to.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and if I could say, I think you and I were never great at that.
No,
And
yeah, yeah,
the people that have always just been good at that,
yeah,
in some cases it shows in their career. And I'm not trying to be a downer, but
yeah.
because it's just shows a certain self-worth in yourself. Um, what's his name? Al Madrigal, who was once one of us and is now
Down here with the plebes.
great guy, Al Madrigal. He just always had a confidence. Do you know what I mean? He just kind of. I remember him
Yeah.
talking to Tom at Cobb's early on when he could have been intimidated. Al stood his ground.
Yeah, you hear these stories early on about guys who just decided or they were just built that way
Yeah,
from the beginning. Like, listen, I'm not going to play whatever game you think you can play. I know who I am. I know what I'm worth. We had an agreement, follow through on
yeah.
it.
He just followed through. Just give me my money.
Yeah. 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 Well, that's going to be
Yeah.
me now. It only took 30 years, but damn
Come on.
it, I'm
Yeah.
worth it. I deserve it.
Lean into that. We're in a therapist. Lean into that discomfort. Don't work for
Mm,
people.
no more.
And then
Yeah.
you get to report back on the splaying. Okay, I
All right, done.
we we need to hear your progress. This is when I'm working pro bono as a therapist, I want results.
That's fair.
Seriously.
That's fair.
That's one thing. If you have a therapist friend, okay, and he sits there and listens to your shit about your relationship for over an hour, and then at the end, there's action to be taken, like, okay, I'm going to break up, do it, or else friendship over. Someone's breaking up here.
Does that happen a lot as a
Yeah,
therapist? Do you think
yeah.
people sometimes run like, "Hey Dan, can I just ask your opinion
Oh,
on something?"
everybody.
Wow.
That's another thing. Therapists, we don't want to hear it. We don't really. There's this idea. I've had plumbers.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
what do you do for a living? Why is everything I do for a living, even back when I was a comedian, I never want to tell. It's just going to
Yeah.
lead. You know what I mean? It's
Uh,
going to lead to conversation with
I'm a
expectations of being funny or solving your problems. It just
yeah.
leave me
Sometimes I
alone.
feel like I can't get rid of stuff. Are we talking about the pipes now or you?
Yeah,
What are we talking
are we
about here?
repressing
Okay?
hair or feelings? I know.
Just flush
Okay,
it. Make it go away.
so I had a quick before we get into it. I had a quick. It's difficult to be progressive experience I
Ooh.
wanted to share with you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So I go to Starbucks. I was just there, and there's this trans barista that sometimes works the cash register. I'm the old guy that always wants to do the hip thing. I always want to
Right,
show my
right.
respect.
Yeah, yeah.
she has a she her button on, right? And I never get the opportunity to use her pronouns
Mm.
because it doesn't come up. When you order coffee, you say, "Yeah, I'll have a medium latte." That's it. There's no
This is
opportunity.
this is starting to feel like a George Costanza.
I know.
You're looking for a way to use her
I can't.
pronoun.
So finally, um, I go in and I'm like, I'll have a latte. And she was taking a little longer than usual.
Uh-oh.
I
Uh-oh.
lean over to the person in line and I was like, is she going to hurry up with this latte
How
or what?
is
What the
this?
hell? I'm,
How is this? How is this good? How
well,
you're
I was able
you're
to she I
annoyed, but you're
called I
using the
called the
proper
manager over. You
pronoun.
the manager,
Oh no. Her. Mm,
you
point.
tell her to get a move on. I got shit to do.
I got a podcast to
Yeah, I got a
get to
podcast
and
and
talk
this
about how I'm
broad
progressive.
is moving slow. Let's go.
Did you
So,
just try to find like every feminine pronoun?
yes. So I
This
nailed it.
lady, this
Yeah.
broad. Oh my God.
Now,
How did this go?
um well, it didn't happen, Joe. It was, see, I don't get to it's a
What?
I don't get to do this on my bits on stage.
Oh, buddy, you had me going. I thought this was real.
Uh-huh. Well, it was so um no, but I was thinking it. It's not real, but the real part is I do
Oh,
notice
it's great.
I see the she her and
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then I'm just
How do
like
I
coffee and I'm just me.
can you like try to like, so how's your day going today, ma'am?
Then I'm pushing it,
Then you're
I don't
pushing
want
it.
to,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
obvious.
yeah. What's
I
new in women's fashion?
so
I
she
mean, that's
so
even worse. That's like
so
you're so
she
she. How did you arrive at that?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just trying. I'm trying.
you're trying. You're trying to make bridges.
Yeah,
Yeah.
building bridges. Okay, so let's get to it.
What's our topic today,
Our
Dan? What's
topic,
our yeah.
okay, let me lean into our topic with another story.
Oh, great.
Okay, this was over the summer. Went to a destination wedding for my niece on my dad's side in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
Absolute beautiful wedding. Have you ever been to a wedding? Two people that are just, they're not only, this is something that has never and will never happen to you and me. It's passed us by. Two people marrying, they started off as friends and now they're in love and it's like the right time of life. There's no dreams of comedy or acting. They're both
How old? How old are they?
24,
Okay.
both leaving grad school.
Hmm.
Two shining lights coming together like a lightsaber, shooting into the orbit, brighter together than they were
Oh,
apart.
I I already hate him,
I know. And I'm sitting there,
but that's
and
beautiful.
it was one of these funky weddings where it was run by their siblings, and it was all very personal and not formal, and they said I do, and they had the friends and family say we do. Are you going to support them? I do, we do. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, this divorce is going to be so brutal, you know? Oh
Oh,
my God.
Dan, you shouldn't be thinking that at the
I just
gorgeous
couldn't help
wedding.
it. And then I thought, what if we could reassemble for the divorce?
Mm,
Wouldn't that be
mm.
amazing? All the bridesmaids and the groomsmen and the best men, and we all kind of come together.
Destination divorces?
Destination divorce,
Are we still on the same beach?
talking about what happened and how it didn't go wrong. Here's my point. It really set in how sad divorce is.
Mm,
That divorce is an absolute broken dream
hmm.
for so many people. And I didn't I didn't realize that, particularly men that I've known over the last 20 years that have gotten divorced have fallen apart.
Yeah.
I mean, really regressed, fallen apart. And I never got that because my parents divorced when I was 6, but they did a very good job of it. And basically what they told me was, you know what? We went to college together. It was the 60s. We graduated, realized
Hmm.
they were just wrong for each other. There was never any regret, never any grief and loss over that. They basically said, we had you, and now we're moving on. And so it was kind of like returning the refrigerator before the warranty. It's just no harm, no foul. And I always had a conception of divorce as if it was, like the next step. In fact,
Hmm.
the first 10 years of my marriage with Colleen, we'd get into a big fight, and I'd be thinking, all right, are we ready to wrap it up? Yeah, like, let's get divorced
Wow. Really?
and be free. And being at this wedding, it kind of hit me. Oh, this is why people like really have a hard time with this. And I think particularly men for some reason.
I will say that's an interesting observation. I would agree with that. And I don't think this is, I mean, how do I couch this? I don't think it's a sexist observation. For whatever reason, when it comes to this, I've seen the women who get divorced, they're stronger about it, they're more
Hmm.
resilient about it, they move on. But
Hmm.
yeah, the guys, they just almost seem like I don't understand.
Right.
Like they're just incapable of even examining
Hmm.
how things led to what eventually had to happen.
Hmm.
Um, but also fair disclosure, I've never been married, and you've been married how long now?
22 years.
20. Wow. That's
Yeah,
pretty successful and happy in this day and
we
age.
do. We're very lucky. My theory is that often divorce is the first time a guy loses control.
Hmm.
Guys, I think, tend to be, maybe it's less and less, but cis men tend to be in control. They might not think about
They
it,
might
but
think that they are, but or they act as if they are. Yeah, I get your
there
point.
just
Yes.
tends to be a
Yes.
sense of, I mean, look at traditionally, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
A guy gets to make the money. Now, I realize there's a burden to that, but that's control. You get to make the money, you get to go to work and be kind of detached, which is easier in some ways than you get the sense that when a guy says she wants to divorce me, I don't know what happened. She
Yeah.
probably said, "Hey, I want to go skydiving and I want to take up hiking," and you said, "Yeah, we'll get to that." And it's over. It's too late.
Hmm. I mean, I think what you're addressing is one thing like, hey, I want to grow as a person. I have needs
Hmm.
that are not being met. I want us to do some things together. I think that's a common
Yeah,
theme.
yeah,
Sometimes, like in your own parents' case, right? That is true where they realize, hey, we're not really meant to be
right.
lifetime partners. That can be a healthy division. I think the thing that, and for men and women, what I've seen in marriage, when cheating becomes an issue,
Uh huh.
right? That
Right.
I think is so like again, never been married. I have been cheated on with a girlfriend who we were living together,
Uh huh.
and that was so devastating
Was this back in the
to
day?
this was back in the day. Yeah, this was back in the day. This was my brief. So when I moved to LA, I moved with
Oh,
yeah, and
okay.
that
Let
was
me
so
ask you something.
devastating. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
dying to. I've been dying to ask you this for like 20 years. Okay, you moved.
yeah,
Okay, so this is my recollection of it. You moved back in the day to LA. This was
yeah.
when you got to move to LA to become something. You start to feature and headline in San Francisco. We moved to LA.
Mm-hmm.
It was a rough move for both of us in different ways. Um, okay, you moved in with your then girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
who was going to Cal State Northridge,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys were living together. She had the car,
Mm-hmm.
and you were using her car to drive to your gigs.
Yeah, yeah.
And she was young, you were youngish.
I was yeah,
You were okay,
yeah.
kind of a different. And then she just, my perception of it was she just kind of turned on you and said, "Okay, I'm done, get out."
Yeah, I mean, that's not, it's a huge oversimplification, but
It is.
yeah, I mean, I look at my part in it too, and I was not emotionally taking care of myself. And the thing that I was not honest with myself or her,
Right.
about the depression that I had, like in
And
the
that's
back
what
of
I
my
wanted.
head.
I want you to continue. I've always wanted to ask you at the time you felt a little bit victimized, a little bit like
Oh,
she's just
completely.
done.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
has your,
yeah.
yeah, how's your perception changed of that relationship?
Oh wow, this took a dramatic turn.
I know what, how have you, but this is about growing. How have
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
how
I
did you,
mean,
what did you learn from that?
I could see I very clearly see my part in it. I still have a very hard time. I mean, look, in reality, yeah, we moved down there. She was 23 years
Mm-hmm.
old,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was, what was I? I was like 38,
Uh-huh.
40. Yeah, no, I was 38. Yeah, 38.
She's going to,
Um,
she's a young going to college.
she yeah, I mean we were really, I mean I won't go back, and I mean when I met her she was a waitress at the Punchline in Sacramento.
Mm.
She was very isolated. She would love to read books. She was just funny and sarcastic,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, right? And we just hit it off, and for a long time most of our relationship was over the
Mm-hmm.
phone, and she'd come down on the weekends, right? And after a while, after like a year, I'm like, listen, I need to take my shot at something more in this career. You're from LA originally, and you want to go to college. Just, why don't you go to Northridge? We'll go down there, we'll get an apartment. I'll take a shot at a bigger career. You keep going to college for journalism. And it was like, oh, this is going to be so ecstatic. Yeah, we're in love. This is awesome,
Mm-hmm.
right? But in the back of my head, I knew something was wrong with me because I remember thinking to myself, like, I just don't feel the way I felt in love before in my life. And I knew it was depression, but I didn't want to say it out loud. I've
Does that
experienced.
mean it wasn't like that explosive, all-consuming love
Yeah, I mean,
that
I
you
had
knew?
it. But yeah, like it was muted, and I could also, like, I started really faking my feelings around her. I was pretending like I was happier. I was pretending like I was more joyful. And I was faking like a normal, happy life with, and why wouldn't I be? I'm like, look, I'm this dorky looking, almost 40-year-old who's with a woman younger, hotter, funnier. Like I should have just written jokes for her and had her go on stage because she was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Really?
She also had some issues too that, you know, I was looking the other way. She was a cutter, right? She would like cut words into her arm. And I asked her once, like she didn't do it anymore. And I'm like, hey, what, like, did you resolve that? Did you go to therapy? And she just said, no, I got writer's block.
She got writer's block and then stopped cutting?
Well, I think she was kidding.
Oh, she was cutting words. My bad.
Yeah, yeah, that's all right.
So
That's all right.
timing is everything. Wow, that is funny.
Yeah, I mean, she just had a
That's
dark sense of
hilarious.
humor. Yeah,
Everybody got that. She would put words into cutting is not funny, but that's funny.
but that's funny. Yeah.
That's funny. Wow.
Um, so I knew something like, yeah, as I couldn't hide the depression, and then I'm down in LA, and LA was like so foreign to me,
Yeah.
and it was really hard. And I was, everyone warns you before you go, hey, it's going to be starting over. No matter how much of a big fish in a small pond you were here,
Hmm.
it's a lonely, brutal place,
It's a
and just
huge
emotionally,
that huge valley.
oh, and it just
Um,
wore me down. It just wore me down. I remember once driving her. She was a waitress at a Fridays,
uh-huh.
and I remember she's in.
Waitress, leave out the cocktail. I don't like
I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why I
kind of.
said.
She's a server. God damn it.
But I remember her looking down at her phone, and she had this smile on her face. And I remember looking, it was a text message, and I instantly had the thought that used to be my smile. Like that was the smile she would give me, and I
Ooh,
knew that that text message
you
was
know it
from.
all.
It
Boom.
just it suddenly hit me like she's got feelings for somebody else at work. And
Okay.
then yeah, she ended up like one night we had this huge argument, and I was just I didn't know what to do. I was beside myself, just like faking it, depressed. She just sits down and blurts out, "I'm not in love with you anymore, and I don't want to live with you anymore." Just like that. And
Hmm.
it was like the most devastating, unreal thing because for a minute I'm like, did this just happen? Did you really just say that? Like, no, let's play this back. I remember thinking vividly in my head, oh, you think things are bad, they can get worse. And I remember walking across the street to the liquor store
Hmm.
and getting a pint of vodka, and like a Gatorade, and just started drinking, right,
Pint of
right
vodka
there.
and Gatorade.
Pint, yeah, because you gotta be hydrated, you know.
All right. So you look back
Yeah.
and
I
you
see
know,
my part in it. I see my part in it. But I was afraid. I was not honest with her
mhm.
about what was happening with me emotionally.
Which again, so back to couples and divorce, it is really hard to grow and listen and sort these things out. And the difference is a lot of people get married. When you guys moved in, some people would have just gotten married. And then if you want to stay married, you have to sort all of that out.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, with Colleen and I, we've got we've been through the trenches.
Mm.
We've got this great marriage, but then I look back and go, I can't believe we got married. We
How so? How so? What does that mean when you say I
we
can't
were
believe we got
both
married?
explosive, angry, dark people
Wow.
that wanted to be famous comedians.
Mm.
And our defenses are up. You want to do what you want to do. Um,
You beat the odds, the two of you. You
we
know that,
did.
right?
We
Yeah.
did. And I'm not trying to be the one with the great,
No, 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 no. I mean,
but
it's apparent because what you're talking about, dark people who wanted to be famous,
yes, we
that
happened to
bitterness can
fall in. We
happen.
just got this
Yeah,
great, for whatever reason, we love being around each other.
as it should be.
We just
Yeah,
love.
yeah.
I don't get sick. We don't get sick of each other. We're looking forward to retiring together. But it didn't have to go that way, and we had times it could have not worked out.
Hmm.
Again, gender roles are changing, but what is interesting is I have seen more men fall apart than women. And I think it's because men are not equipped, at least traditionally, to handle emotional turmoil. We fix things.
Hmm. Yeah,
When push
yeah,
comes to shove, I can always fix it. We'll
yeah.
go hiking next week. Something that makes sense to me that I've learned is beware of the tipping point
Hmm.
in your relationship where someone looks at you and they're done. It's over.
I've seen that
Remember?
look. I've seen that look. No, I
And look,
mean, no, I'm not
you
even saying
and
that jokingly. I've seen the look where I know it's too
yeah,
late now. Yeah.
you and your bullshit can take a fucking hike. Do you remember in Stripes? Remember Stripes? Great line. In the beginning, his hot girlfriend leaves him and she just looks at him and she says, he's getting nowhere, John. It's just not that cute anymore.
Mm, yeah.
And there's a pause, and Bill Murray looks at her and goes, it's a little cute. that's
That's all he got. That's
that's
what he
the best
got.
we can
That's
do.
that's
It's a
that's it. I want to believe I've grown and matured, but there's been
yeah.
several times in my life where I look at my partner
Mm-hmm.
and I can see the look in her eyes and I know, man, she's really hurt. I've
Mm-hmm.
I've done damage. This is
Mm-hmm.
over. And yet I'm still like, it's still a little bit cute
Yeah.
because that's it. That's all I
Yeah.
got. It's like, hey, look, that's what got you. And just recently I was doing a storytelling show and my premise of the story was because it was like a Valentine's theme, right?
Uh-huh.
I said, all my life I've been able to get the girl,
Yeah.
but I've not been able to keep the girl.
Uh-huh.
And I think that might be a part of the issue for men in marriage is like, all right, you got her, but if you don't keep growing, if you don't
Mm-hmm.
keep paying attention to her, if you
Yeah.
don't figure out how to do things together, eventually it goes nowhere because you're
Right.
not investing in the relationship. And that charm, that meet cute, that whatever it was in the beginning, it's not
Uh-huh.
self-sustaining. You gotta do the
Yeah.
work. And you can't see it as work. You got to see it as like, I love this person. I want to know more about her. I wonder what it would be like to hike with her.
Yeah. And I'll say this, even if it does feel like work, do it.
Do it. Yeah.
Even if it feels like work, giving, yeah, the giving of yourself after years and years, I still deal with that with Colleen.
Hmm.
And I'll tell you what really helped me. Chris Rock, a couple of specials ago, had a really good confessional thing. He talked about how he cheated, talked
Hmm.
about how he screwed up his. He said, if you're dating someone, you should be doing two things: going places and fucking. And it hit home.
Yeah.
Like, hit,
Yeah. Yeah.
just do it. She wants to
Yeah.
go out. Go
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't analyze the fact that it just seems like a pain in the ass. And it seems it
I-
matters.
you know what I will so I,
She wants to get
right.
dressed up. She wants to
Yeah,
go out.
yeah, exactly. It's like that's what we're gonna do then. That's and I
Yeah.
like that's what my baby wants. That's what like
Hmm.
if I get sent a message from Christine about, hey, look at this. This looks interesting.
Yeah.
I'll buy the
Interesting.
tickets. I'll buy the
Oh,
tickets, right? I'm like, yeah,
interesting.
let's go do it. Let's
Right.
yeah,
And there's this thing. I just want to go, why do we got to do anything? Let's not do anything.
yeah, yeah.
And I, and then you do it and you're happy or you're not happy. We went, we went to a Peter Gabriel concert.
Oh, I love Peter Gabriel.
Do you? Okay.
I the latest, did you go on the latest tour?
We went, this was actually a couple years, year and a half ago. We went in London.
Oh my God, wow.
Awesome.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Okay. So it comes, okay. So to me, you go to a concert like this,
Yeah.
it's going to go in one of two directions. Okay. Are you going to play your new artistic stuff or are we going to have fun? And there ain't no two ways about it.
Yeah, yeah. Are you gonna play the hits or are we gonna have to listen
Yeah.
to
Are
this?
we going to have fun or not? It's in your hands. So he comes
Yeah,
up, Peter goddamn Gabriel comes out in a packed stadium. Comes out just him.
yeah, yeah.
Bad sign.
I think I saw the same tour.
Did
Yeah,
you? Okay.
yeah,
Comes
yeah.
out with a microphone.
Yep, yep.
Him and his old ass. Comes out with a microphone. He's like,
Uh,
I've been thinking. I'm like, oh fuck, you're thinking. This is so.
how about you
We are
just sing?
we are so far from Sledgehammer right now. You know that feeling? We are so far.
Hey, why don't you shock the monkey while you're thinking?
Yeah, shock the fucking monkey. I'm saying it. It's and if you're gonna argue with me that I'm being kind of inartistic,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
no.
yeah. I get
You
you. I
play those
get you.
hits, and then you
Yeah,
notice how everybody is
yeah,
going like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's called fun.
Hey, I've been thinking. Let me see it in your eyes.
Yeah, he's been thinking. And then he comes out and they do this fake campfire,
Yes, yeah, I saw the
that
same tour.
fucking cake campfire, and they're pretending to roast marshmallows. Here's what I noticed. Where did you go to that?
Uh, Chase Center in San Francisco.
Okay,
Yeah, it was about
this is what I noticed.
yeah,
And here's the thing. And they're doing their new songs, and everybody's kind of
yeah, yeah, yeah,
trying
yeah,
to have fun. This
yeah,
is
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to have fun. I noticed this. If I were to suddenly at the top of my lungs go, this fucking sucks. The, the whole place. No, if I did that, Joe, the whole place would
It's
have been like,
got yeah,
"Ugh." It's
yeah,
not supposed to
yeah,
be like that in the
yeah,
stadium.
yeah, yeah.
It's supposed to be too loud.
I had the same. I was making an effort to listen to his new stuff, and because very Peter
Making an
Gabriel.
effort, right?
I was making it because he would release a new song on the album every full moon, which was very Peter Gabriel, right? Like, and it was produced immaculately. It sounded
Yes, it
incredible.
was an amazing light show, all of that. I
Yeah,
guess that's his
but
thing.
but the new stuff was just like, yeah, it's just a little bit more. just demure or muted. It's not like, yeah, you're right. And then there was the intermission, and you came back, and suddenly we started to get, up on our feet because he's playing the hits. And
We look, we're looking to go back in time.
yeah, we want that
We're,
nostalgia without getting too deep in. I've been dating this woman for 6 months now, and I had to wait until this age of my life to really, really be mature, in love, respectful, just get the benefits of a
Mhm,
healthy relationship.
mhm,
And it's incredible. And it's incredible. And there's so many times I find myself doing something where I realize a younger me would not have done that. A younger
mhm.
me would not have said that. A younger
Right.
me would have adopted a different attitude. A younger me would now be impatient. A younger me would now be argumentative. It's just like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I wish I could go back in time, right?
Right.
And give that younger version of
Right.
myself all that knowledge and information about how to be a mature partner. But you
Because for a lot
can't.
of when you're young, you don't get it.
You
Like,
don't
well, if I'm
get
not
it.
having fun, why would this?
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
this is wrong. Why would it work?
I mean, I paid her for the full hour. I don't understand why.
You ever notice, speaking of that, do you ever notice people with the worst love habits want to give you advice? They want to drag you down.
Because I think they think they're good at it,
Yeah, I think,
right?
right, right. You ever get this speech? Hey, man, all love is a transaction.
Mm.
I might as well just make the transaction. Thank you. You know what? I'm good. I do your thing. You don't need to be giving advice.
But I'm curious. The divorce rate hasn't really changed, right? In 20 years or so. Like it's
I
still
don't.
pretty, I think it's still pretty consistently. It hasn't changed. And one thing I'm curious about, and here's where you and I, as older guys,
Mhm.
probably don't really know this, but all dating seems to now occur exclusively on apps,
Right.
right? And some of it is extremely transactional. Like, look, this app is just for hookups and sex. This app
And
is
that's fine.
for
Yeah.
which is fine, but I also there's a older part of me that just feels like one, man, I wish we would have had that when I was younger. But then
Mhm.
there's another
Yeah.
part of me that's
Me
like,
too.
man, I'm so glad we didn't have that when I was younger.
Mhm.
Because it just today, I don't know. I feel like the the experience of getting to know someone
Uh-huh.
is I feel like there's a third party involved, and it's the phone. It feels like there's
Mhm.
this third there everything's a
Have you ever
three-way.
dated that way?
No, I've never done it.
Right.
Never ever. I've never. So I'm looking at it from the outside. I'm not saying it in a judgmental way, but I wonder, has that affected relationships in
Yeah,
a
it
way?
has to have. And my guess is it makes people like social media in general, it just makes them less focused, less distress tolerant, less
Hmm.
tolerant of maybe getting through some muck with
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
easier to break up by text and ghost people, and it's all gotten a little bit less personal. The part I I met Colleen before all that. The part that I think would be cool is just the ability to ask someone out, get through that awkwardness, and be able to
Yeah,
show up,
yeah.
have coffee, and be like, "Hey, there's at least an expectation that something could happen." You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, that's such a weird lost moment. I mean, people still meet in person. I
Yeah.
guess it happens, but it's not the norm anymore. I mean,
Right.
there's that moment where you first meet in person in public, I guess, but so much is happening before you even show up in person now. And I wonder how that affects expectations. I wonder how that affects intimacy. I wonder how that affects long-term relationships. Because I do feel like if you are using the same piece of technology to
Hmm.
order food and have Amazon deliver your groceries that you are using to meet someone,
Hmm.
then does relationships also become something like, ah, you know what? I'm just going to delete that person. Or you know what?
Yes.
I'm no
Some
longer, you know what I
it
mean?
would
Like
have to be. It's kind of like the beginning of AI was spell check, and now we don't know how to spell. There's
Yeah.
something missing in our ability to connect.
Yes,
Yeah,
this machine that helps us connect has kind of hurt us emotionally, I think.
yeah, for sure. It's in some ways AI has its place, but it can't replace the human experience of meeting someone, learning about them. It's you shouldn't expect, okay, the algorithm matched us, this should work
Yeah.
necessarily. It's
Yeah.
just a way to begin.
There's so many variables just being human, and then when you put two sets of variables together, is there chemistry? What
Yeah,
was it just the right night? Did somebody look a certain way? Was there, I mean, I don't know. I
it's
don't know,
hard.
but
It's hard.
um
I thought again, because I never experienced it, I always thought online dating would there's something attractive about it. It'd be easy, make it easier. And I hear people are very down on it. People are bummed out.
I have a
People
friend.
I know that have just gotten divorced are not
Yeah.
excited to date.
No, no, it feels from everything I'm hearing, it feels very much like a chore. It feels very
Yeah,
impersonal. It feels like some people are just like, hey, look, let's just hook up and have sex, and if it's good, then we'll do something more. And it's like, well,
right,
wait a second. I thought this whole thing was to
right.
try to filter that out, but I don't know. But in summation, Dan,
In
d
summation, grow.
divorce, what do you think? Let's ask the big question here. And
Mhm.
I need your therapist hat on. I
All right,
apologize.
all right. I'll
All
try.
right.
You know what?
What just
I
send me an
think. By the way, I
invoice.
think about our old comedian friends looking at the idea that I know anything about mental health. Like that's the
It
last guy I'm going to go to.
Yeah, but
Just
again,
whatever.
growth, right? Like growth. I mean, I could not have foreseen where I am today in any
Mhm.
shape, way, or
Mhm.
form, you
Yes,
know.
you have grown, and you've. This guy's been through a lot. You have been through. Your stories are worthy of the stage, man. You 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 have been through some serious blackouts and brownouts and
Well, we
everything in
yeah,
between.
I've been very lucky though. I've been very lucky that yeah, but that's a whole other
Yeah, that's
podcast.
a whole other podcast.
But what can a man, because we're just two
I guess
guys
we're
trying to
men. Yeah.
figure it all out. We're just two
Mhm.
guys, and by the way, smash
Smash the
that
subscribe button.
subscriber
Subscribe
button.
to the
That's
Splain.
how
'Cause I
the
know there's some of this
grand,
you're
yeah.
enjoying.
You're enjoying some of this, you must be enjoying.
Yeah.
Hit that button so the algorithm recognizes us. But here's what you've been building to, fan base. Here's you're gonna get the real story. What can a man do to make a relationship healthy? Can a man do anything to, like, let's say he wants to hold on to the woman that he loves or his partner, right?
Mhm.
What's the one thing someone can do to hold on to that person?
Um, grow and change and listen. That's three things, but one out one out of three ain't bad. Go out and do the thing. Do the thing. And remember, next week it's too late. It's over. You didn't do the thing, it's over. And when it's over, it's over. You
So
can't
damn it, men, this week, do the thing.
do the thing this week.
Yeah,
Take a walk, go to the blues festival. If your partner is telling you they want to do it, it's real.
yeah.
Even though it's not meaningful to you, be, or even if it's a moment of just being more flexible than usual, take
And
a
be
pivot,
present. Be
do it
present, right?
differently.
Like
Yes.
don't show up like, I don't really want to. No, show up, put the effort in. Be present.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
I'm not good at it.
Sometimes Peter Gabriel's not going to play his hits. Show
Right.
up and still be like,
Yes.
yeah, he's thinking.
Uh huh. The
That's it.
best we can. We'll see you next week.